Morning, everybody. Welcome to a marvelous Monday. It is February 9th of, well, excuse me, did I say February? It's March 9th. Goodness. I'm going to go back in time. The clock's changed. Time didn't move back a month. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, welcome to the time differential zone. I hope everybody's doing well. It's good to see you all, and I hope you're going to have a great week. I know I will. Of course, we got a super duper sticker from Barry the Music Man early on in the stream, and the generosity of course, our friend out there, Texas 84, gifting 5 Culture Casino memberships. I want to say thank you to the first Dragon Queen for the $5 super chat right there. The package officially in the mail. Be careful opening it. Hugs for all. I will be. I'm gonna swing by the PO box. I guess maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I think that'll be a good time to do that. We got a few other things to open up on the screen. I want to say good morning to Griffin's View, and of course, and again, thank you, the first Dragon Queen. Much appreciated, dear. Dr. Jill, good to see you. Look at all the wrenches in the house. We got Ms. Pitt Cafe. I think I saw Juliet out there early. Yeah. We got a few people over on the Green Machine, including, well, obviously Ms. Pitt Cafe, but Corporeal Being, Cat Slave, and Crazy White Boy, and of course Cat Slave with a big old cat on the lap. So there's that. Let's see. Man, lots of things going on. The whole world's different. Caledon 910 is here with the famous radio station. Who else we got out there? We got some more folks. Let's see. I said hi to the Snort. I want to say hi to all the Canadians, the crazy Canucks, Morgan King and the lot. It's good to see you this morning. Commander Ed Straker Shadow. Good morning, my friend. Thank you for your almost religious viewing of my videos and commentary. I appreciate that. It really does help, guys. It really does boost viewership. We think we're over 6,000 views on one of the videos I dropped prior to yesterday. Yesterday I didn't drop anything because I kind of took a day off and just recorded some stuff, which, you know, obviously you already saw the first one this morning. The next one is coming up in about, let's see, 3 hours, 15 minutes. So there's that. One more time, just in case. All right. Here we go for history. The history of laws you don't want. On March 9 of 1962, Naples approved a law that kissing in public is banned and punishable by death. Talk about a kiss of death. Good gravy. Well, thank you for today's history. All right, folks, real quickly, just a quick thank you again to Texas 84 for the enormous generosity. I can't believe how generous you guys are sometimes. We're going to get to 1,000 members. It's going to happen, all with your help. So Texas 84 says, Big Gulf responsible for the time change. Well, maybe, but you know, I was wearing my golfing hat yesterday. I have several golfing hats, let's be fair. And there's the very lovely Juliet coming in here at the last moment. All right, Staccato DDS is in the house. Awesome. Irate is too. It's going to be a good day. 6 minutes starts now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you're and whenever you're watching. Thanks for checking out the 6 Minute Daily. We have a lot to talk about, not a lot of time to do it, and we need to shrink this one just a little bit to get everything on the screen and say that Pixar originals rumored to rebound. No, they didn't. There was nothing original about this film. This was Avatar all over again. I'm getting nauseated with the PR baloney sausage that's being tossed out there. They think people have like the memory of a gnat. I swear. It frustrates me. Hopper's got an $88 million worldwide earning. That's nothing. Coco kicked the complete crap out of this, and everybody's trying to say, "Well, it's in this decade." I don't care about this decade. Disney has done jack all in this decade, and the audiences wanted no part of the bride, which we'll talk more of. In fact, I got a video coming out separately about that today. But the Hopper's reaction to the weekend was already my rant this morning. Do catch that video if you haven't already. Netflix is out as an investor in Meghan Markle brand as ever. Most people are. She's blaming them for not distributing her goods. She's blaming them because, well, She didn't deliver on anything, and we have more to talk about with her. So we'll just move on from this and say good riddance. We got Hollywood suddenly taking UFOs seriously. Not really. You're going to get Disclosure and many other, rocket projects, including Project Hail Mary. This is not new. They've been doing it forever. Let's see what else we got. Oh, CNN's, because of the war efforts in Iran, the CNN's been canceling or preempting Have I Got News For You, just to go with the war coverage, which makes sense. This show certainly doesn't draw anybody, nor did I know anything about it. So there's that. Staccato DDS with 20 Culture Casino memberships right mid-live. Hokey smoke. Thank you for that. Now, SAG-AFTRA and the studios are agreeing to extend negotiations for another week into this week, and we'll see what happens with that. Look, nobody wants to strike again, but we may end up with one from somewhere no matter what. Monsters 3 is coming. Not that that's really anything anybody cares about anymore. And Incredibles 3 is set for 2028. Again, the lack of interest in and enthusiasm in all of these reboots really are showing just how creatively bankrupt Disney is. Pete Docter was talking all about the queer Elio storyline that was axed because they're making a movie, not hundreds of billions of dollars in therapy, which I think, it's kind of the stay in your lane message they want to stick to going forward at Disney. We'll see what happens with that. Let's see. We got, what else do we got? We got the WGA members approving a bargaining agenda focused on healthcare, pay, and AI. Again, the guilds are going at it. We'll see what resolves about that. We got some other super chats I need to get to when we get to bonus time, so don't go anywhere, anybody. We leave no super chats behind. Disney's Robin Hood live action remake is not moving forward. Well, that's good. That's fantastic. I got one piece of good news. Good. Because they were just going to wreck it like they did Snow White. Oil built the Persian Gulf. Desalination water keeps it alive, but could war threaten both? Well, probably not. I mean, it's the Strait of Hormuz being a little bit tedious at the moment, but the U.S. Navy seems to be on it, so I think we're going to be fine. Let's not overemphasize things, AP, until we have an actual threat. State actors seem to be behind much of the visual misinformation about the Iran war. Why would they want to give us propaganda, folks? I don't know. They do, but it is what it is. Let's see, what else do we got? Love is what we got. We got cocoa beans rotting and West African farmers seeking other options after the commodities absolutely crashed, which doesn't make sense. Although they're going to lab grow chocolate going forward, which sounds perfectly disgusting. I'm worried about cell-grown meat, folks. Go look for that label on your steak and chicken and other things. That means it's not really meat. It wasn't an animal. It was grown garbage. AI is spurring in a big expansion of high-voltage power lines. Landowners and locals are fighting back because that's not what... You can't steal the land for right-of-way anymore. But people get angry. And they get angry at municipalities. Municipalities are going to be held accountable, which means these boards are... susceptible to change. I think a lot of people are just frustrated. Build the power plant right next to your data center and leave us alone. Mexico and the U.S., these talks got officially announced. We talked about them on Friday, but on March 16th, they're going to start reviewing the new trade agreement. And guess who's being left out? Canada. Oh, Canada. We got Ford recalling 1.74 million of its cars over rear view display issues. You bought a bunch of stuff from China probably, and maybe it doesn't last so long. Kind of like their electric cars. Finally, Hong Kong's trying to get $2 billion back over the Panama Canal's takeover of two key canal ports. Well, it wasn't theirs to begin with, and they took a risk. Oh well, you lost. And I think China's getting kind of hemmed in. Whatever word you want to use. Finally, the bear story of the day is this is Prizzy Bear. It's real. And it's not quite a polar bear. It's not quite a grizzly bear. It's kind of a mixie bear. Kind of neat. You can read this story over on A to Z Animals. But it's a very rare bear hybrid that exists in the wild. Its confirmed DNA profile is both bears combined. Very neat viable offspring between polar bears and grizzly bears. So a little bit of a overlap, not necessarily a new species. So hey, there's that. And on that note, we enter bonus time. I just want to say a quick shout out to everybody out there. Those of you who were very generous this morning, let's acknowledge you out there, which includes, of course, the first Dragon Queen, Texas 84. We had amazing Texas $5 big golf conspiracy about the time change. We had our wonderful friend, Walter Tomaszewski, out there saying, Part 1, OT. Where did we get the idea the future looks like the present? Today turns into tomorrow, and you have to keep living. Indeed, I think that's true. And I think things naturally evolve over time. I think I think aesthetics will return. I think people don't want to look at homogenized things anymore. The sea of same of the tract houses, the architecture in cities, places like that. I think you're going to start to see more unique structures on Earth, probably built because people will be just trying to do things. I think we're right now in the beginning of a shift in culture from something that's human driven to something that's AI driven. I know that's terrifying for a lot of us, especially us older folks like me, but I think a lot of good will come with that as well. It's just we're going to have to figure out as humans and really think about what our purpose is in life. We need to think deeply about life. And, one of the things that can help with that and whether or not you have faith or not is faith, holding on to your faith, talking about your faith, experiencing your faith. Some of the things that can help you out with that are hobbies, things you enjoy doing that are good for you. Like I like to garden, obviously. So I think a lot of our time will be returned to us, and I don't think we're quite prepared for that. A lot of us have been slogging for some kind of corporate machine or another, or at least within the business world, either being employed by or employing people in a business venture that largely will be deemed, if not made unnecessary, or at least it'll be conquered by technology. And while that's sad, it does give us opportunity to, I'd guess, become more human for a change. Wouldn't that be nice? Get away from your devices, folks. They're not always good for you. Once again, a huge shout out and a big thank you to the one of the most generous people out there, Staccato DDS. It's so good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you so very much. All right. Look at that 20 Culture Casino memberships. My goodness. Things are green, and that's a good thing. It's a manic Monday. Oh, whoa. Speaking of which, we got the second part of Walter Tomaszewski's super duper chat saying, though tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. That's true. Yeah, it's one of the problems with the manana and the manana and the manana stuff is like you don't want to give all your manana away. And since today is not promised, you have to be thankful for every day. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. Every single day I come to do this, this is one of the best parts of my day. I get to talk to you, give you a little bit of information, hopefully a little bit of entertainment, and we can all, enjoy, well, what's being done right now. And the world is changing whether we want it to or not. So there we are. The Grim Dark is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. And a few other folks popped in as well. Davina, good morning, dear. Hope you're doing well. We got horseradish power. I keep seeing talk about the 2030s. We'll see a new renaissance. I agree with that belief. Cultural change is definitely happening. It is. Yeah. Well, and I think the only way to influence culture positively is, well, to expand freedom. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with the ID craze right now. Not just for operating systems, but for apps and everything else. I think I think there's no reason to surrender your identity. They want to try to eliminate anonymity because they want to be able to attack you or control you. I think that's a problem. By the way, you never really know who writes books that you read because oftentimes those are nom de plums. Many sonatas and plays and great works of various times. We didn't really know who the author actually was. We got a name, but who the person behind that name was, a lot of people actually knew. Samuel Clemens got famous behind another name, Mark Twain. So, yeah, but I do have very positive vibes. Good question. Who lost it worse, Brittany or Amanda Bynes? I think Amanda's in worse trouble. I think Brittany got in recent legal trouble. But yeah, it's a shame though. Anyway, speaking of being in trouble, Meghan Markle has been the center of royal destruction for quite some time. She was kind of a healthy distraction to keep everybody diverted away from what Prince Andrew was. Come to find out, as I've been seeing around and had reported previously, may have been one of the yacht girl types that actually hung out with Andrew prior to, well, the redheaded fool. So, oi, you got a license for that app? Yeah, I don't want that happening. Culture, all books are false. Okay. I've held them. I've read them. I've read wonderful histories and wonderful treatises and wonderful biographies. I don't know. Seemed good to me. Crouching Taylor, Hidden Swift, our friend Matt G in the audience. Good to see you, buddy. There's a rate. Oh no! The mouth from the green cup. The green screen was creepy. Technically, this is blue. I'm blue. Ba ba dee ba boo da. All right, let's jump into this bonus time story for y'all. This is downfall of everything. She's a terrible human being. She destroyed the life of a prince. She was a terrible actress. I mean, I could go on. But you can find this story for yourself over at OK Magazine. So you can't read the top line, but it says narcissist Meghan Markle accused of lying about Netflix partnership ending because streamer was holding back lifestyle brand. They dumped her. Yeah, they got rid of her. To quote South Park, she just wanted privacy, okay? Hey, the Mad Doctor's in the house, and so is the very lovely Penny. Matt G. That's right. You got to say hi to Matt G. Putin's here. Everybody's here. It's good to see everybody. The beautiful Deeple showed up on the green machine. Hello, my friend. That sounded very hello, Clarice. Anyway, so let's get into the story. Markle's as ever lifestyle brand no longer has Netflix's support. Okay. The industry source told the outlet on Friday, March 6th, that it didn't make sense for the partnership to continue after the streaming giant axed her series again after just 2 seasons. They've axed a lot of things with her in it. Her production company is ridiculous. And, you know, playing at being a royal is not being a royal at all. So while it's said that the split was mutual, Markle 44, man, she's getting old, is relieved to have complete control over her brand amid concerns it was being held back by a cautious company. Is that really what's happening here? I don't think so. I think she was making her brand less valuable and less interesting. From descriptions of what people got from this lady, the products weren't exactly great. Numerous critics of the entrepreneur were not buying it. A lot of people say you can't believe a word that comes out of her mouth. Um, and again, after just 2 seasons of this terrible playhouse, because that's where this was all filmed, that's not where they live, it was just time to drop it. So, responding to an X post asking whether Meghan was lying, a user said, "Of course she's lying. She also is really showing her narcissism here, too, claiming it's her idea to protect her fragile ego. Personally, I don't believe a single word that comes from her mouth," another person wrote. Well, yeah. Again, none of these are attributed to anybody. Again, this is the kind of thing you're going to get from an OK magazine or a People or whatever. But, you know, the truth is in the center of it, which is Netflix was done with me. So there's no credibility whatsoever in my opinion. So I think she was dropped by Netflix. No, but I think everybody arrived at that same conclusion. A third netizen. See, we're now these kinds of things are are what they are. But Netflix shares statement on cutting ties with As Ever, and even while a fourth person wrote something different, um, the spokesperson said in a statement on Friday, Megan's passion for elevating everyday moments in beautiful yet simple ways inspired the creation of As Ever. And we are glad to have played a role in bringing that vision to life. How kind. Sycophants need other sycophants. And I think the Markles are running out of them. How about that? By the way, there's more stories to read on this. Including Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand sinking, blowing millions on PR. As Ever jams filling up Netflix headquarters as season 3 of With Love, Meghan remains up in the air. That's not going to keep going. Princess Anne's savage comment about jealous Meghan Markle at King Charles 2023 coronation. This, again, OK magazine. So there we are. There we are. Anyway, wild stuff. Cat Slave dropping a rant. Hey, a $2 rant saying, for no apparent reason. Well, thank you, my friend. That's terribly generous. I much appreciate it. Someday I'll be able to figure out how to get that money somewhere. I got to sign up for that wallet thing. Somebody has to walk me through that. That'd be good. Please. Please help. Blue Sky is dying. Yeah. Blue Sky is dead. It's bad. Yeah, a lot of people are walking away from that. So, anyway, if you want to watch this article, if you want to read this article for yourself or any of those other stories, it is filed under Royal Family News at okmagazine.com. So there's that. See if we can get back to just regular bonus time. There we go. What are you guys doing out there? Bruce Newhouse in the house. Good to see you. Markle isn't lying. She is just generating greater works of fantasy than Tolkien. Well, there you go. That's a wonderful way to put it. Oh, man. OK Magazine, Radar Online, they spend a lot of time on the royals because there's a lot of Anglophiles out there that have tracked the royal family forever. I think the idea of a monarchy is starting to fall apart. So I think William will be the last king. And I think that'll be that. As far as I'm concerned, Princess Anne should be Queen Anne. Well, there you go. Very strange happenings indeed. Caradwin, hello. What? It was Penny's birthday Saturday in the park. I think it was the 4th of July. Wrong song. Okay. Let's do this. I haven't done this in a while. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Penny. Happy birthday to you. And many more. People are talking about bacon over on the green machine. Don't do that. I'm hungry. I'm starving. Starving. All right. Send cake to Penny post haste. Happy birthday. Her 21st birthday. Okay. Sure. Why not age backwards? Seems like a thing to do, I think. Who else is there? Who else is with me? Bacon is delicious. I love bacon. Huge fan. The raid specialist likes bacon, I think. Money. I don't know. The emojis are too small. Anyway, there's lots of stuff going on in the palace. You think with as big a fan of the president and the administration that I am, I would be, rah rah the war thing. I don't like war. I'm not gonna lie about that. I like that it's having some positive effects. I like that we've had limited numbers of casualties so far, and I like the idea that there's a global shift. Uh, there's a good chance we'll find ourselves in Cuba, helping those people rebuild, and bringing Cuba back to pre-Castro Cuba, which was a beautiful place, wonderful resort island, beloved by tourists, very close, 96 miles from Florida. Um, was a much more beautiful place than, the DR or Haiti. And I have a feeling that once these places are stabilized, there'll be no reason for people to want to relocate from there anymore. So I think that's good. Keep your families intact, all in one place if you can. But for the many Cubans who've emigrated here to the United States, especially Florida, I hope you don't go anywhere. You know, you've done wonderful things in Florida. So our friend Horseradish Power says the problem with the monarchy is that it is so heavily neutered. It is ineffectual. Roll it back to the late 18th century for the political system. Fun fact, that is what the US political system is. Well, it's interesting. Here's the problem. Uh, Having a body like Parliament, um, in the way it's structured is kind of like our Congress, right? Senators and congressmen are can eventually or slowly be bought off by lobbyists or NGOs, and I think that you know countries have to stop that rot if they can. Yeah, the Havana casinos. Yeah, I may regret not necessarily following through on buying the land in Claremont, Florida. Um, Although I probably should have gone farther south. My dad always wanted me to move to Key West. I'm like, no. There's a reason why I didn't move to Hawaii and build on the land. Then there's a reason for that. So no. In terms of Iran, Javid Shah may Reza 2 bring peace. Oh, okay. Yeah. May Reza may bring peace and stability to the ancient and noble land. I can only hope. If they could reestablish their government the way that it operated prior to 79, I've been told many stories. I think I said this in a conversation that we had that there were some folks that were forced out of Iran that built a cabin. They had money. They built a a cabin just down the street from where's ours is up there. And as a young child, I got a chance to know them very well. And then as I grew up, I mean, they've stayed. They visit regularly up there, more regularly than I do. We just say, and I get to learn an awful lot about what life was like before, and obviously all the terrible descriptives I was given about what happened after. And of course, now not anywhere close to what it used to be. It used to look like very much modern world. It was amazing, and people enjoyed their lives there. It was gorgeous. So, thoughts on Iran? I really I don't like a lot of death. I said that. I think, unfortunately, this was all in an effort to truncate any ability to produce any weapons that could destroy their neighbors. You saw how irresponsible they were with with their use of their weaponry. They launched them at all their neighbors. I think, for what it's worth, the comedian Jon Stewart actually had the best reaction to that, saying Iran's like, "Oh, you hit us with bombs, U.S. Well, we're going to attack all our neighbors. Here, you have a missile." Yeah, it was funny. Jon Stewart isn't funny anymore, but and the fact that they have like no reasonable ability to do anything effective anymore, and we're flying very expensive, sophisticated aircraft over the area without any problem now, tells you a lot about how much superiority we have in the air there. I'm proud of our military. I'm grateful to them. They're brave people doing what they do, um, and ever grateful for our service folks. Um, uh, Lots of family members that were in the service. Um I have utmost respect. And yet, as reluctant as I am to suggest violence is the opportunity to change things, I think sometimes it's required. And I think this was a required thing. I think it was required to eliminate the weaponry problem we've been having, to remove the leaders and the heads of governments that support terrorism around the world in multiple different forms, the sponsors of terror that make it to our shores and in the shores of other countries. Um, I think by cutting off their funding, which I think is the next step, the UAE is considering seizing all of the Iranian funds. Um, I think that's all pretty logical. So we'll see, we'll see. But I'm often not a cheerleader for war. So in this situation, pretty justifiable. And that's why I think you're not going to have military confrontations in Cuba. I think it's going to be a very peaceful. You know what? You're right. We sucked at this. We're going to leave. We're going to be done. Those people aren't going to want to lose their jobs, but they didn't make the country better. And look, it proves that communism in any form, any kind of communism, socialism, Marxism, Leninism, whatever you want to call it, any of that always fails. Cuba's one giant failure after another, and we know theocracy, fascist theocracies like Iran don't work. Um, we know dictatorships don't work. Just ask the guy that we brought over from Venezuela. And I think we're seeing wholesale change, and I think we're starting to see negotiations for trade deals that will stabilize the world in a way that, well, is quite honestly beneficial to almost everyone. The only people who will be at odds with the direction the world is going is China. That's weird, but true. Bruce says the British upper house is appointed by the monarchy and a hierarchy for life. The lower house is elected. Well, I just feel like Parliament needs a redo. Let's just put it that way. They clearly aren't listening to the people. The big problem is party politics. We know that. You should have everyone be independent, representing the constituency. The political parties are mafia mobs. It's the same thing that it devolved into here, where there was wholesale money laundering. That's why the investigation into Act Blue is taking so long. Goodness, it's insane. Iran was a modern country, and it had beautiful. And this is all true. All of this is true. Iranian women are gorgeous, and there's that. Cat slave. Thank you, bacon. Okay. Starmer is contributing to the mission. No, he offered to. The president said, "Pound sand, bro. You're late." I hear he's sending the HMS Victory to the Persian Gulf next week. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they worked out at the State Department. I just think the president was a little peeved because you can't claim to have our backs and not have our backs. But I appreciate y'all. I love you. I really want you guys to have a better government, and I really want you to seal up your shores and send away the people who don't belong there. We need to do the same. Can't stop. Yeah, we're kind of getting rid of a lot of proxy wars. Um, China wagging a proxy war. I don't think it's going to be that much longer. They don't really have the ability to manufacture or maintain or distribute the weaponry that's required to, deal with this. And of course, the threats there from the people on the ground that haven't been eliminated. And by the way, I think we're on the third or fourth round of trying to get like people like leaders. I don't think you want to be called a leader in Iran right now. Oh, the HMS Victory is an antique wooden sailing ship. Okay, well that adds better perspective. Sending the Victory. Don't do that. Don't send a historical vehicle. No, that's like Disney sending one of the Mark Twains, across the ocean. That's ludicrous. Ludicrous. Oh, Caradwin says this war is going to be a costly mistake. I don't know how. I think. I mean, I'm willing to entertain that conversation. I think oil prices stabilize within this week. I think the price of oil drops back to where it was. I think you know. I mean, if it gets much worse in California with all the taxes and everything that they have there, you guys could be looking at permanently at $6 to $8 a gallon for gas. Think about that because you no longer have the suspended state gas tax there. It shot up. On top of this, not good timing. Plus, they force a fuel change in California, which is absolute nonsense. They do it in many states around the country for pollution reasons, and I think the EPA is going to stop that nonsense here pretty soon. Um, I think a lot of people are understanding that they've been manipulated for the last 50 years or more. My entire lifetime, I've been hearing that at the time we had global warming, although it wasn't global warming then, it was global cooling. We're headed into the next ice age, and then none of that baloney sausage. In the next 10 years, you know why they say it's so far away? In the next 10 years, um, it never gets here. It's a lever of fear. Did that lever of fear keep all of the rich people from buying up all the beach property? No. Or buying islands? No. I mean, they were partying on the islands, especially with Island Boy. You notice how quickly the files disappeared, even though there are 47 million other documents supposedly or some such being dropped. Maybe it's 47,000, something like that. It's crazy. Yeah, I think the majority of people will be very open to zero nukes and peace. I think that's most of the world. I think one of the reasons hear me out here. I don't This is a theory of mine. You don't have to agree with me. It's okay. We can talk about it. That's the cool thing about my channel. I don't mind chatting about it. But I think that the Board of Peace is like the precursor to replacing the UN, since the UN is such a failed disaster at this point. We're watching just a handful of countries in Europe try to, rearm themselves into a more defensive position. I think Poland, Germany's kind of indicated a little of this, but you have terrible leadership right now in Germany. I'm sorry, my friends. And there are several other people, but I just look around there and I think, well, you're you're seeing Hungary and other countries. You're seeing them start to figure out that the EU was a bad plan, and they don't really want to be in it for much longer. I think that's going to change too. But I think this Board of Peace thing is just a precursor to something larger to replace the UN. That's what I think. Let me know if you think that's true. I wouldn't mind. Oh, and you guys all had a time change, so uh, you know, things are going to be on balance a little bit easier for me around here. So that's a good thing. Yeah, they did. That's true. A rate specialist is correct. Some bad groups that like to support, you know, the those activities. Um, but here's the problem. When I say we, what's his name? Obama. We've been sending money to the enemy forever, courtesy of that stupid presidency. You don't buy peace. It doesn't work that way. You have to make the cost of war so high that your best option is to be friends with everybody around you, because in the end it's so costly that you can't possibly win, and everybody thinks that the great equalizer would have been the nuclear bombs and missiles and such, and no, it just it the prospect is terrifying, but my thoughts on that are simply, well, you saw at the protests the other day in New York City, somebody decided to check a handmade device into a crowd of people that were, not super thrilled with the behavior of certain groups. So, what do? You prove their point and you chuck a homemade device at them that, thank goodness, failed to explode. But my goodness, a shrapnel device. Not great. Yeah, I think Tony Blair didn't do a lot of good things. I think anything he's tied to, not bueno. I miss the Iron Lady. I thought she was great. Meg Thatcher was the best. Yeah, I saw that too, Barry. That was look. I one of the things I do while I'm editing. You guys probably, I think I probably said this more than one time, but I always look at the screen on the right. Just obviously during shows is for the chats, right? So I can see what you guys are saying. But at the same time, I always have like shorts up on that screen while I'm editing or doing anything on this computer. And again, this is a 50 some inch wide screen, curved monitor. And this one's just a 32-inch that's done vertically. So this one's kind of like a phone, and this one's kind of like just a regular computer screen. So, um, but so I'm constantly trying to keep up with that. One of those came through my feed the other day, and I was like, "That's funny." Mar is a dyed in the wool, old school Democrat. I don't even know if I know he calls himself a liberal. I think because of the shifting landscapes, I think he doesn't want to be aligned with that. And I think he's already called out the fact that things have changed so significantly from when he began to where we are now, that ultimately it's difficult for him to remain where he is. Oh, hey, our friend Morgan King says, says, did you hear the comments from Mark Carney on her? No, I know he said something really stupid the other day. Maybe it was yesterday. He said, nobody's willing to work with us or something like that. You guys are going to lose the Japanese automakers in Canada because of Carney. Yeah, if you lose their business and you lose America's business, because it sounds like we're just going to close up shop and bail, all you got left is the Chinese. You guys are basically an offshoot of China at this point. I know you don't want to believe that, but why do you think you have provinces wanting to leave to be recognized as nation states, at least, if not, join the U.S.? Well, let me tell you why. But the problem is that you're going to end up with a realization that you can't keep up all the free service garbage that you guys give away, and you can't keep up taxing your people to oblivion because it backfires. Why would you tax the most productive humans? If somebody works really hard and they make a lot of money, why are you overtaxing them? And this is the same problem we have here in this country. Progressive tax systems are disastrous. They reduce the incentive to do great things. That's why communist, socialist, Marxist, any of these systems don't work. Yeah, you cannot remove the motivation to work and to earn and better yourself and to earn more and more money. What you can do is tax consumption. You can have a baseline tax, I guess, but again, that's going to eat into what productive society is able to do. I think you have to change tax policy entirely. Cat Slave says we are headed into another ice age, probably, but right now we're in a warming cycle, a greening of the planet. Areas that have never been green in a while, not anybody on this planet's lifetime, can go back to being green again. It's not that we lack abundance of water, it's that we aren't managing the land very well. We're allowing for desertification, amongst other things. Again, this is a passion subject for me, so I could talk about it forever. 41,000. Thank you. Thank you for that horseradish power. 41,000 files are due to be released. Yeah, that's plenty. Look, what I've seen so far is horrifying. And the fact that nobody's in jail is insane. Insane. You think the Board of Peace is a rebranded NWO Great Reset? I'll think about that. I'm not sure I agree right now, but I'll consider that. I look, the founding fathers liked the idea of friendliness with all nations, but entanglements with few. I think outside of trade routes and things like that, trade negotiations, I think that's true. And I think that's why the EU turned into such a disaster is you entangled too many countries of too many varying abilities to be productive with large and small populations. You took the engine of Europe, which was Germany, and you destroyed it with regulation. And eventually, the economic engine that Germany was utilizing to power the EU at the time just broke down. And then because you had added instability with the Russian border and their claims to certain lands, it was inevitable that there was going to be a war, um, unless you tried to actively defend against it. And doing the very thing that you promised not to do in a treaty, which is to expand NATO into those areas that you agreed not to with Russia, I think that was bad. And then to further back up agreements with European countries and Russia, that was bad. And then you became reliant on their energy supply. And then you sanctioned that supply. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense. So it's not like you couldn't see things coming, you know? I mean, everybody saw that there was eventually going to have to be a head to head with Iran. That had to happen. The other stuff, I'm just going to say, I wasn't a fan of. Hey, DJ Roddy G in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Man, I am so far behind in your comments, guys. I'm sorry. People, the EU is the French strategic plan. Napoleon would be proud. You realize that by being left out, by leaving out the British or the EU, um, the US is going to make the deciding uh, elements on their own. So they will define what the future government will be or help to define it. They're going to define how the oil is and negotiate fair oil prices. And again, this with Venezuela out of the mix and their oil not going to the bad guys, and with Iran's oil under control and not going to go to the bad guys, and the stabilization of the Middle East, uh, you know, there won't be a volatile neighbor next to all of the other, like Saudi Arabia, the UAE. I mean, Iraq. Iraq is, changing in the positive way a lot recently. So there's hope for the Middle East in my lifetime, which I didn't think was possible. So there's that. So I just feel like the EU realizes because they have no guts and a globalist plan, they got left out of being a decider. Same problem with the British. Um, I think Starmer's the weakest leader you've ever had, at least in my lifetime. He's making Boris look like a genius. Tony Blair was such a compromised piece of garbage. Still is screwing you guys to this day. Vehal is in the house. Good to see you. Greetings to everybody on Al Gore's amazing internet. I love it. We come in swinging. Woo-hoo. You guys are on fire. Yeah, the EU was supported mainly by Germany. Yeah, France and Italy. Italy really didn't have the economic engine there. They didn't have the population, and they weren't reproducing at enough of a rate to like keep the thing going. Same problem in Greece. Greece collapsed under the weight of its own freebie system amongst poor export management, bad trade deals, and such. Um, yeah, it's just weird. Tune the News is here saying good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you. Hey, by the way, I don't know where I'm sending you guys. I should probably look and see. I don't know. Do we have that Park Place this morning or Pro? What we got? I know Love is what we got. Love is what I got. I said, remember that. I said, love is. I don't cry when my dog runs away. I don't get angry with the bills I got to pay. Jukebox in my brain. Customization. What do we got? Redirect. Sorry, guys. Super good streaming right here. I'm telling you. Man, there's a lot of people live still. Look at all y'all. All y'all. That park place. Let's see what we got. I think we got it upcoming. Upcoming. Do you guys see the guys are playing games again last night? I think it's great. I kind of feel bad I missed the couple nights before. Yep, coming up here at 9 a.m. We got That Park Plays. So there we go. Tuesday, I think M4 Empire is going to be live. And after the shortened show, Tuesday, Thursday are short shows. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you get bonus time, at least some. Today, we're sitting at 57 minutes of streaming time. We're probably going to wrap it up here in just a few minutes and go from there. So, anyway, do check out the video I've already dropped and the one that I am dropping in 3 hours, I think. So keep an eye out. That one's going to be all about The Bride and its complete collapse. So back-to-back box office videos. I don't normally do that, but I've been ignoring it quite a bit lately. So Horseradish Power says Blair the Dark Lord. Yeah, all his legacy should be wiped away. I have hoped for Rupert Lowe to deliver us out of the valley of darkness. I hope so too. I like Rupert Lowe. I think he speaks plainly and without deception. I don't look for double meetings. I don't look. I don't think I have to look any deeper than what he's saying. That's important. You know, I don't like two-faced politicians. I don't really like politicians, but I'm actually considering being one. Would you guys vote for me if we get relocated to Tennessee? I think I'd be a good rep or a senator. I know I wouldn't fit in. I'd be like the Fetterman of. I'd be the Fetterman. Although Herrera has long hair, doesn't he? Texas is about to put him in, I hope. So we'll see. Greece collapsed because no one was paying taxes. Yeah, everything was done under the table. That's true too. But they really started as a population issue. Yeah, the euro is what destroyed Europe. Well, I didn't mind trading currencies. I didn't mind exchange rates. I didn't mind, having a few pounds in my pocket and a few francs. I didn't mind that. And really, kind of, you killed the tourism industry. And again, all of that was the first step towards trying to get a unified digital currency that nobody wants. So there's that. I hope this is the last daylight savings switch. I hate them. I hate them very muchly. It disrupts everybody's circadian rhythm. It's going to throw you off. You're going to be extra hungry for a day or two. The minute you lose sleep, you screw up your system. 1 hour makes that much of a difference. They're playing the International Baseball Series too. I did not know that. All right, Morgan King says, and thank you, Morgan. Morgan's been around forever. Morgan King, long-term, amazing human being. Says Mark Carney said he regrets backing the U.S. in the Iran war. What this guy is, speaking of vacillating, he's wildly askew in his positions. You can't. He's unpredictable. He is chaos in a person. No, he's never going to be trusted. Western democracies cannot look to him as being serious. Oh, man. We're in a weird place. On that note, we got to get out of here. we have done over an hour, which means I need to start having coffee and getting ready to break my fast. So, with that, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, well, don't forget about Sherry's Slammin' Clam.
Are you tired of the same old buffet food at Wang's? Have you had enough dong to last you a lifetime? Well, take just a few more steps past those single-minded restaurants and dive into Sherry's Slammin' Clam. Sherry's Slammin' Clam Shellfish Bar is truly all you can eat, unlike the 2 shrimp limit that stingy bastard Wang has. In a hurry, let Sherry stuff your box. To go! Be shellfish and take all you want from Sherry's Slammin' Clam. Located next to the 3rd Street Bolorama, Sherry's is open 6 days a week. If you are looking to slam clam, get to Sherry's today.
When injustice strikes, I strike back.